Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. The dev server got updated, and with it, the MSC got updated. It did also have a dev blog come out today, we'll probably look at that later on, but basically, I thought we would finally have a look at this machine. The MSC was on the first dev server, but it was missing something quite crucial, basically the gun and its rounds that came along with it, and now with the update, it is actually here. So we can finally have a look at its characteristics. Now, where you'll find the MSC is actually in the standard tech tree for France, which is really cool. It's at 10.7. That might shock people, but once you see the armor values, it'll start making sense. The MSC is very similar to the other Leclercs, apart from it just doesn't have the external armor, and also they gave it weaker rounds to keep it at 10.7, so you can actually start forming a lineup at 10.7 with the Leopard 2A4NL, and also the Leopard 2.4 Les, and I suppose the Roland if you really hate yourself. So when it comes to the vehicle, if you compare it to the standard Leclerc, which is this one, the big difference is obviously the fact that this Leclerc has a lot of additional armor on top of it. Like you can see, you have it on the cheeks, you even have it on the sides, and even the booty, which makes it look completely different. So on the actual MSC, if you have a look at the turret, you can see that it's kind of naked in terms of how it's set up, and it's just completely different. It also looks tiny compared to the Leclerc because of this. So if you have a look at the side, this is kind of the engine deck. Now look at it on this one with the extended exhaust and also all of the extended armor. It just looks so weird. So the fact that these are basically the same vehicle, but they just look completely different is just so odd. And because of these differences, the MSC has different smoke grenades. So instead of having the Leclerc smoke grenades that are sat in the back of the turret, you can see here, all of the 14 of them. Instead, the MSC just has 6 of them on the front. There's also, as I said, some other differences, such as the rounds, which let's get into now. So this vehicle has the 120mm CN 120-26. This is a two-plane stabilized 120. It's got a very good targeting speed on it, very much a standard NATO targeting speed. It also does have the autoloader, so right now it's at 6 seconds, which is kind of funny, since the Leclerc proper actually has a 5-second autoloader. So for some reason, this autoloader is worse than the Leclerc's. I'm guessing that's a balancing thing because I don't know why it would be any different. It does have the 1500 horsepower engine, also the transmission, meaning that it can go forward and backwards at a great rate, and it even has a fuel tank modeled in the base of it now, which looks really interesting. I don't think I've ever seen a fuel tank like this on an MBT. It also has some additional ammo in the front, which you should never take, because obviously that will decrease your survivability, and it has access to a 12.7mm CRC F1 gun, and then also it has another one on the top, which isn't fully modeled yet. So the 3-man crew, because of the autoloader, you got the driver, you got the commander, and then also the gunner. You have commander fire controls and optics, and then also the gunner optics too. Nothing has really changed in that front from the standard Leclerc. So the round on this 120 that it's going to get is the OFL 120G1, which should be no surprise to absolutely anybody. On the standard Leclerc, this is actually the standard round that you get nowadays, the G1, and it's also, I think, the high round that you get on the AMX-40, which recently just got put up in BR. So the G1 is one that you can already see in game. It's a completely fine round for 10.7. It's going to go through everything. You just got to make sure to obviously aim properly, and with the 6-second reload, you should be able to have a pretty good time with it. It does have a laser rangefinder, which is lovely. Also, obviously, the smoke grenades and the NVDs. This thing, I think, just has Gen 1 thermals for the gunner, and that's it, which kind of sucks a little bit, but at the same time, you know, it's still fine. Like, I feel like nowadays, unless you're at, like, higher imaged thermals like Gen 2 or Gen 3, they don't really make a huge difference because there's so much just debris and stuff on the screen that it's a little bit harder to see. Now, because this thing is a rank 7, it doesn't get stock APF SDS. So you're going to be sat there with the OCC 120 G1 round until you get the G1 at rank 3. So this thing has type 90 syndrome, where because it only has access to 1 APF SDS, they stick it at rank 3. So you're going to have to go through, well, 3 or 4 modifications before you're allowed to even start researching this, and that just makes this a pain. It really does. The other thing right now is the mass of it is actually higher than the standard Leclerc, which is hilarious. I don't really understand how that works. But yeah, I'm sure they'll fix that in time because that just makes no sense. Good gun depression as well. Not great elevation, but good enough. And that's what we like. So let's have a look at the internals. Boom. As we talked about before, the fact is this Leclerc has all of the additional armor. So you have the composite armor on the turret, and then also around the gun breech and on the upper glacis. You may have noticed when we had a look at the X-ray of the MSC, it doesn't have any of that armor. There is no composite armor on this vehicle at all. So you're basically just left with your standard armor of 25mm on the upper glacis, 50mm on the lower, and then only 45mm on the turret. So this is very much a glass cannon. Like there's if they keep it like this, which, you know, maybe they'll change it, maybe they'll add some armor to it, then it's going to be a complete glass cannon. And I mean, I know a lot of people talk about the standard Leclerc being a glass cannon at 12.0 because of a lot of the ammo additions. This will be a glass cannon, and there's nothing you can really do about it. You do have the composite screens on the side, which is kind of funny. At least they've kept that piece of armor, but all of the rest of it is just so low and so tiny. Like it can straight up just get annihilated by autocannons. So yeah, this one is going to be another one of those MBTs where you're going to have to be able to you're not going to be able to tank anything. So you're just going to have to play it very efficiently and also play it as a Pika vehicle where to make sure that you get the shot off at the first, and then you'll be fine. And generally with this thing, you'll be able to do that just because of its mobility and also because of its general targeting speed. It has all of the standard camos of the French series, which I think is pretty cool. Nice to see that they're continuing with all of these. I really like the 4-ad camo. I know it's not really that useful, but you know, you don't always need stuff that's useful. Sometimes you just need stuff that's fun, and that's kind of what this has. You can also take 35 rounds, but I feel like you should, as I said, just fill the autoloader and that's it. And look how weird this tank looks. So this is a Leclerc, but it's a naked Leclerc, and it just looks so weird. Like, you realize how small the turret is, and you realize how kind of short the vehicle is as well when you don't have all that additional armor on it. It just seems really odd to me the way that this looks. And then, of course, it has the 50 cal for the coaxial, and also with the reload, you'll just be able to pop stuff very efficiently and kind of just go through it and, you know, have a decent time with it. So it's just all going to be about like how you position this vehicle. Remember, this thing's going to be a lot lighter than the standard Leclerc. I know it isn't right now when it comes to the game, but don't worry, that'll change because it has to. Like, unless somehow the armor just doesn't weigh anything in the Leclerc, which, you know, I mean, propaganda is fun with these modern vehicles, but that is a little bit more ridiculous. If you played French vehicles, you know that they can be incredibly fun. A lot of people, like, you know, go after the Leclerc nowadays because it's not as strong as it used to be. The reason for that is because when it used to be the strongest vehicle in the game, and it used to be the strongest vehicle in the game, and it used to be insane in terms of, like, its usability. So to see it not be the strongest vehicle in the game all the time is, you know, kind of a shock to people who are used to that type of thing. But this vehicle will be good at kind of filling a gap in the tech tree, making it a little bit easier for people to get to the highest echelons of the game, and also give people a taste of what the Leclerc is like without, you know, giving it a full once-over. The Leclercs in the game are extremely fun. I like them a lot. I've enjoyed playing them, and I'm probably going to spade another one when this vehicle comes out, because the event's going to be coming, or maybe not, but at least, you know, this vehicle will be here. I'll have something to research, and recently I just finished spading the Leopard 2A4NL. So why not bring another lineup, or another tank in the lineup and have a bit more fun with it? As France rank 7, gets better and more vehicles get added, basically it'll make the grind to high tier a lot nicer and people enjoy it more. And hopefully this thing can do that. Hopefully it means that there are less gaps in the tech tree, and hopefully they can get it balanced right so it isn't just left on an island like a lot of the other vehicles used to be, like the AMX-40, the Leopard 2A4, and even stuff like the Vextra 2. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time.
I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Warthunder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem, Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.